Hey, basketball fans, welcome back to Tips and Streams, your go-to spot for the hottest NBA regular season predictions. I'm Kokan, and I'm here to break down today's matchups and give you the edge you need to make the best bets. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support means the world to us. Remember, our channel has no sponsors and relies solely on the love and support of viewers like you. Even a small donation by pressing the thanks button under the video helps us keep bringing you top-notch content every day. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and fellow basketball enthusiasts. And we love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what you want to see in our forecasts. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you the content you crave. Let's jump right into today's NBA predictions. We've got some exciting games lined up, so stay tuned and let's get that winning streak going. Today, we have predictions for 4 NBA games. The first prediction for today is for a game between the Atlanta Hawks and Cleveland Cavaliers. The Atlanta Hawks are heading into Cleveland, trying to stop the bleeding after 6 straight losses, but they've got their hands full with one of the hottest teams in the league. This is not the ideal bounce-back spot for a struggling team, especially with Jalen Johnson out for the season. That's a brutal loss for the Hawks, as he was emerging as a legit second option behind Trae Young. Now, it's up to DeAndre Hunter and the rest of the supporting cast to step up, but let's be real, this team hasn't exactly shown the consistency needed to trust them in this kind of spot. Offensively, the Hawks can put up points with the best of them. They're sitting at 11th in scoring, averaging 115.3 a night, and Trae is still one of the best facilitators in the league, leading everyone with 11.4 dimes per game. The problem? They're a bucket-getting squad that doesn't get enough stops. Defensively, they've been a nightmare, giving up 118.1 points per game and ranking near the bottom of the league in both opponent field goal percentage and three-point defense. That's just not going to cut it against a Cavs team that can fill it up. Cleveland, on the other hand, is rolling. They're sitting on a 37-9 record, and when you look at their starting 5, it's easy to see why. Donovan Mitchell is doing his thing, putting up 23.7 per game, while Darius Garland is right behind him at 21.7, plus running the show with 6.8 assists a night. Add in Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen anchoring the paint, and you've got a squad that's built to make a deep run in the East. Offensively, they're a machine, dropping 121.8 points per game while leading the league in three-point shooting at nearly 40%. If you can't guard the perimeter, they'll make you pay, and the Hawks happen to be one of the worst teams at defending the three ball. Now, Cleveland's defense hasn't needed to be elite because their offense has been so good, but they still get the job done. They're top 12 in points allowed, and even though they struggle defending the deep ball, they've got rim protection with Allen and Mobley locking things down inside. Atlanta's offensive firepower might keep them competitive for stretches, but can they string together enough stops to make this a real fight? That's a tall order. One wrinkle here is that Cleveland is coming off a game in Miami, so they're on the second night of a back-to-back. That's never ideal, especially with the travel factor, but the Hawks aren't exactly in a position to take full advantage. They've already beaten the Cavs twice this season, so Cleveland will be out for some payback, and with how they've been playing lately, it's hard to see them letting this one slip. I'd love to believe Atlanta can keep it close, but given their defensive issues and the fact that Young hasn't been fully healthy, it's tough to back them right now. Cleveland is a juggernaut at home, and even with the back-to-back situation, they've got the depth and talent to take care of business. The Hawks might put up a fight early, but over 4 quarters, the Cavs should be too much to handle. I'm riding with Cleveland to get the win and cover the spread.
Welcome to BetUS, Sportsbook and Casino, your ultimate hub for secure and thrilling sports betting and casino gaming. BetUS is one of the oldest and most reliable online sportsbooks in the U.S., serving millions of clients all over the globe each month. BetUS, trusted for over 30 years, offers huge welcome bonuses, countless betting options, and many deposit and payout methods. Depositing funds is a breeze and safe, with a minimum deposit of just $10. Payouts are fast and hassle-free, beginning at only $50. Choose from various payout options like MoneyGram, couriered check, cryptocurrency, or bank wire. Signing up is quick and easy. For signing up, you can use the link in the description and enjoy a generous 125% welcome bonus of up to $3,000. By signing up using the link in the description, you'll also support us as we earn a small commission from your registration at BetUS. Thank you for supporting us. Join now and start winning.
The second prediction for today is for a game between the Houston Rockets and Memphis Grizzlies. This matchup between the Memphis Grizzlies and Houston Rockets is shaping up to be a serious showdown. Houston has had Memphis number all season, winning all 3 head-to-heads, including a nail-biter back on January 13th. But playing in Memphis is a different story. The Grizzlies have taken 3 of the last 5 at home, and this might just be the night they flip the script. The Rockets are riding a serious wave of momentum, sitting comfortably near the top of the West. They just took down the Celtics and are flexing their muscles as one of the league's top squads. They've been handling business efficiently, stacking up big-time wins, and proving they belong in the contender conversation. Their last meeting with Memphis saw them come out scorching, dropping a 45-piece in the opening quarter and never really letting up. Alperen Sengun was an absolute beast, putting up 32 and 14 on an efficient night, while Jalen Green chipped in 27 and Fred VanVleet kept things steady with 22. They weren't exactly lights out from the field, but they got it done, even with their free throw struggles keeping things closer than they should have been. Their ability to execute in the clutch has kept Houston ahead in these battles. The last 2 wins over Memphis were decided by a combined 6 points, proving just how tight these matchups have been. If the Rockets are going to keep their streak alive, they'll need to stay efficient on offense and, more importantly, not leave points at the line. Defensively, they've done a solid job keeping the Grizzlies in check, forcing turnovers and crashing the boards when it matters most. On the flip side, Memphis is coming in off an ugly loss to the Knicks, where they just couldn't find any rhythm on either end of the floor. That's not the kind of performance they can afford against a red-hot Rockets squad. The last time they squared up with Houston, they had control through 3 quarters, but let it slip away late. Ja Morant did everything he could, dropping 29, while Desmond Bane was ultra-efficient with 25. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jalen Wells contributed solid numbers, but Memphis still found a way to come up short. They shot well across the board, but got absolutely crushed at the stripe and on the glass, which allowed Houston to make just enough plays to steal the game. For the Grizzlies to finally get over the hump, they have to be more disciplined at the free throw line and hold their own on the boards. They can't afford to give Houston second chances, and they absolutely cannot let Sengun and Green get comfortable around the rim. The good news? Memphis is elite when it comes to bouncing back after a loss. They've been the best team in the league against the spread following a defeat, which makes this the perfect storm for them to exact some revenge. Houston has been a moneymaker all season, no doubt. They've consistently covered and been one of the best road teams in the NBA, but at some point, that streak has to crack. Memphis, with double revenge on their home court, feels like a prime spot for the upset. The Grizzlies have been stellar in these bounce-back situations, and this feels like the night they finally put one in the win column against Houston. Give me Memphis to get it done and cover the spread. This squad is too good to let Houston sweep them this season. Before we move on, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing might seem like a small action, but it actually makes a big impact for us. Plus, it's completely free for you. Have you clicked that subscribe button? Awesome, thank you so much for your support. Now let's dive back into the video. The third prediction for today is for a game between the Orlando Magic and Portland Trail Blazers. The Orlando Magic are making the long trek to the West Coast to square off against the Portland Trail Blazers, and this one has some serious intrigue. Last time these two squads met, Portland marched into Orlando and absolutely ran them out of their own gym, holding them to just 79 points in a blowout that had Magic fans shaking their heads. That kind of loss doesn't just fade away, it sticks. And you better believe Orlando wants payback. But here's the thing, Portland isn't exactly an easy out right now. This team has been sneaky good lately, ripping off 5 wins in their last 6 games, and they're doing it as underdogs. They've knocked off solid teams like the Bucks, Heat, and Bulls, and they're playing with an edge. The return of DeAndre Ayton has given them a much-needed presence in the paint, and even though they're far from a complete squad, they're scrapping their way to wins. Now, let's be real, how long can this heater last? The Blazers had a rough start to the season, and while they've been fun to watch lately, it's tough to say they've suddenly turned into world beaters. The injury report is another thing to keep an eye on. Matisse Thybulle is out, and Jeremy Grant is banged up, though he should play. That's a potential hit to their defensive versatility, and against a Magic team that's looking to attack, it could make a difference. Orlando, on the other hand, has been in a serious funk. They've dropped 8 of their last 10, and their offense has been straight up painful at times. Their last game against Miami? Brutal. They had a double-digit lead in the 4th quarter, let it slip, and then lost in double overtime. That's the kind of loss that stings, but it also fuels a bounce-back effort. The silver lining for the Magic is that they're as healthy as they've been in a while. Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Suggs are all expected to go, which gives them their best shot at stabilizing things. but they've got to push the pace and impose their will. In the last meeting, Portland dictated the tempo and turned it into a slugfest, and Orlando simply can't let that happen again. This is a textbook, sell high, spot on the Blazers. They've been overachieving, and while they deserve credit, there's a good chance the market is starting to overvalue their recent hot streak. The Magic, when at full strength, are just the better squad. They've got the size, the skill, and, let's be honest, a score to settle. Portland's been riding a wave, but I'm not convinced they can keep it going much longer. I see Orlando coming out with some extra fire, looking to put that ugly loss behind them and remind everyone why they were a top team in the East earlier this season. It won't be a cakewalk, but with Banchero and Wagner leading the charge, they should take care of business. I'm rolling with the Magic to get their revenge and cover the spread. The fourth prediction for today is for a game between the Minnesota Timberwolves and Utah Jazz. The Timberwolves are rolling into Utah with a full head of steam, fresh off a gritty win over the Suns. That makes it 4 straight for Minnesota, and they've been locking things down on the defensive end in the process. Holding teams to just 105.3 points a night during this run, they're showing they can clamp down when it matters. And it's not like they've been feasting on cupcakes either. They've taken down Denver, Atlanta, and Dallas along the way. Safe to say, this squad is clicking right now, and if they bring that same energy to Salt Lake City, it's going to be a long night for the Jazz. Now, let's talk about the matchup. Utah has been a sieve defensively, giving up buckets at an alarming rate, 118.5 points per game, to be exact. They're also letting teams shoot a high clip and drain a ton of threes. Add in the fact that they force the fewest turnovers in the league, and it's looking like the perfect storm for Minnesota to get busy on offense. The Wolves aren't exactly lighting it up on the scoreboard this season, but against this Jazz defense, they should have no trouble getting good looks and cashing in. On the other hand, Utah is in a bad way right now. 7 straight losses, and during that stretch, they're bleeding points, 123.3 per game. 5 of those games, they've let teams drop at least 123, and opponents are shooting nearly 49% from the field. That's a nightmare scenario going up against a team like Minnesota that thrives when they can impose their defensive will and get easy looks in transition. If the Jazz want to keep this one close, they need to take advantage of Minnesota's scoring inconsistencies. The Wolves may be streaking, but on the season, they're still in the bottom third of the league in scoring, averaging just 110.4 points while shooting 46%. If Utah can slow things down and keep Minnesota near those season averages, they might have a shot to cover. One thing working in Utah's favor is rest. Minnesota is coming off a back-to-back, which means some tired legs could come into play. Meanwhile, the Jazz have had a bit more time to recover, though they've been dealing with some brutal matchups of their own. They took a 15-point loss to the Bucks at home, then followed that up with an 11-point defeat to Golden State. Even without Steph Curry in the lineup, the Jazz couldn't take advantage, which pretty much sums up where they're at right now. If there's any hope for Utah, it lies in Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton. These two have been the Jazz's best offensive weapons, and if they both show up in a big way, it could at least keep things interesting. Sexton has been efficient, shooting nearly 48% from the field and over 40% from deep. Markkanen, while not as deadly from the perimeter, is the team's top scorer and brings some rebounding presence. If Utah is going to steal one, they need these two to be aggressive from the jump. Now, let's talk bets. Utah has been absolutely dreadful at home this season, winning just 3 games in their own building. For comparison, they've actually been better on the road. That's not a great look when you're up against a Minnesota team that's been one of the toughest defensive squads in the league. That said, the Wolves haven't exactly been a reliable team against the spread, sitting at 18-27-1 against the spread. So, where does that leave us? Honestly, this one's a bit of a toss-up. Minnesota is clearly the better team, but the back-to-back factor could play a role. Utah has been awful lately, but if there's ever a spot for them to show some fight, it's here. I'm not saying they win outright, but I do think they can keep it close enough to cover the number. If Markkanen and Sexton come out firing and the Jazz can slow down the Wolves just enough, this could end up being a tight one.